Hey guys, this is Claudia of the Alexandrite system, but I'm sure if you saw the title of this video, you were probably expecting Claudia of the Alexandrite system. So I wanted to shoot a quick video talking about something that comes up a lot in this community, and that really bothers me in a lot of ways, and that's parts language. So how do I define parts language? I guess the simplest way I would put it is that instead of using alter person system member, you use part to fill in that language. Protective part, young part, how is this part feeling today? And before I continue, I want to say, I don't give a shit what you call the members of your system personally. Like, I could not care less. My main issue is that people seem to think that it is a very neutral term and very neutral language that they can just apply to everyone when it's not. It is very much not neutral language. Now, frankly, we just use people, or if we are talking more broadly and trying to use neutral language, we use system member. So what do I find particularly objectionable about parts language? Well, I think to me the primary thing is that it feels so dehumanizing. To me it says, you are not a whole person. You are not worthy of the title of person. You are not complete on your own. And I know that some people claim that by part they mean like part of a system, part of a group. But to me, whenever I hear this, and the way a lot of people use this is part of one personality, or part of one person, part of your brain. And in fact, I don't really have to argue that it's supposed to mean that you are not a complete or real person, because that's literally what the ISSTD guidelines for treating DID in adults says. And I quote, "Many terms have been developed to describe the DID patient's subjective sense of self-states or identities. These include personality, personality state, self-state, disaggregate self-state, alter personality, alternate identity, part of the mind, part of the self, dissociative part of the personality, and entity, among others." See Vanderhart and Dorothy, 2009. Because the DSM-4 TR, because these were written in 2011 and have not been updated since, uses the term alternate identity. This term is used in the guidelines for consistency. Clinicians should attend to the unique personal language with which DID patients characterize their alternate identities. Patients commonly refer to themselves as having parts inside, aspects, facets, way of being, voices, multiple selves, ages of me, people, persons, individuals, spirits, demons, others, and so on. It can be helpful to use the term that patients use to refer to their identities unless the use of these terms is not in line with therapeutic recommendations and/or in the clinician's judgment, certain terms would reinforce a belief that the alternate identities are separate people or persons rather than a single human being with subjectively divided self-aspects. And that is from the ISSTD Guidelines for Treating Dissociative Identity Disorder in Adults from the Journal of Trauma and Dissociation, Issue 12, pages 115 to 187, published 2011. So yeah, this language is meant to be dehumanizing. So I think if you've watched our channel before, and especially if you've watched my videos, we are very much about the idea of differentiation between system members being a good and healthy thing. It's not for everybody, but we have found a lot of healing through differentiation. A lot of us have our own hobbies, our own spaces where we're individually known, our own friends, relationships, religious practices. We thrive when we are allowed to be ourselves individually. And I'll be honest when I say, yeah, I have kind of a chip on my shoulder about this because of personal experiences, and honestly personal trauma around it. When we first discovered our system, we had a therapist who was very into parts language, and very into IFS, like deep into it, like way up Richard Schwartz's ass. So let's do a little exercise. Imagine that you're just going about your life, everything seems normal, and then one day, a therapist tells you you're not a real person. They tell you that instead of being a real person, you are a part of a person. You've had your own experiences, your own hobbies, your own friends, and then all of a sudden you're told, no, you're just this person's aggressive part. Is that not fucked up? Because that's what happened to me. And it's like, what do you even say to that, you know? And frankly, a huge barrier to us healing was us not viewing each other as real people. And something we not only emphasize on this channel, but in our own personal mentoring, that if you have a system member who is a problem in some way, you need to realize that they are not doing things randomly. They are doing things with a purpose because they're a person too. Like early in our system, Susan wasn't being contradictory about everything for no reason. She was doing it because she wasn't being heard. And once we started listening to her, she got a lot more pleasant to be around. And I know that some of this is just conflicting philosophies. And I know that for some of you out there, there's literally nothing I can do to make you feel like your system members are people. And I mean, like, to a degree, what are you doing here on this channel? We're so about, like, each system member being their own person. What do you get out of this? But all I want to ask from people who disagree with me is to stop using parts language like it's neutral, because it's very much not. It is asserting that you do not view me as a whole. I mean, in a lot of ways, I don't know what I wanted to say. I came into this being like, I want to tear down parts language, or at least the neutrality of parts language, but all it hinges on is that I'm a person, you know? That's it. I don't care what language you use for yourself, but don't pretend that it's neutral, because it's not. I guess that's it. We're on Twitter at WeAreAlexandra. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/WeAreAlexandra. We're that basically everywhere. I really hope you guys are doing well. We haven't put a lot of videos out lately, but we're working on it. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.